Hey guys, it's Eddie and today I am doing another movie review for you all. Now today's movie review, I will be discussing the new Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson and starring Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Oscar Isaac, Adam Driver, John Boyega and Gwendolyn Christie, to name just a few. But I'm a massive Star Wars fan, not the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet. There are people that know far much more about the universe and its infinitely intricate details than me, but I love the movies, I always have, so I thought that I would just give you my opinion as a fan and as a film fanatic on the latest instalment of the franchise. Now, this film starts where we left off in The Force Awakens, Rey attempting to bring a very stubborn Luke Skywalker back to the Resistance to help defeat Snoke and Kylo Ren. Now, I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want spoilers for people who haven't seen it. I know that people cannot go and see it immediately, and before they have seen it, I don't want to ruin anything for them. So just for now, this is a very sort of objective review just about the filmmaking. I won't be giving any sort of in-depth devastating spoilers for anyone, so that's just a little warning. But yeah, that's the basic premise for this film. Obviously there are other things going on, but yeah, that's just the general gist. Now, what I liked about this film was that it plunged you straight into the action, and from that moment on there was never a part of the film, despite being the longest Star Wars film so far at 2.5 hours, there was never a moment where I felt bored. Obviously it was very long-winded, but it didn't feel like that when I was sitting there in the cinema. Rey sort of endlessly trying to encourage Luke to come with her back to the Resistance was the only single moment where I felt that it was somehow growing a little bit tiresome, but I realised that they had to include this element because it needed a build-up and it needed an arc. It couldn't just be, things happening quickly and Luke coming to a snap decision either way. I think obviously there had to be some sort of lead up to whatever was going to happen. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think that was the only part where I was like, this is getting a little bit long-winded. But before it could get completely overblown, it was quickly cut to whatever was going on in the rest of the movie, and then things really started moving. So that was my only complaint, but I think that generally this film never lets up. I think it's always something going on and you're never tired, you're never bored, you're always completely intrigued by what is happening in this film, whether it be with Rey and Luke or the Resistance or Kylo Ren and Snoke. Your attention is completely split and you're never bored. I think that what benefited this film a lot was that classic Star Wars trope of several stories or several storylines happening alongside simultaneously at the same time. So as I said, there was Luke and Rey, and then there was Leia and the Resistance, and then there was Kylo Ren and Hux and Snoke. And I think that was really clever because it kept you on your toes a lot, and it was very sort of intricately cut, and we left off, Luke and Rey at a moment, as I said, where it was just becoming a little bit too tedious, and then it would switch to Poe and Finn or something like that. And I think that it really kept the pacing very, very interesting, and I appreciated that because, as I said, there was a lot going on in this film, stretched out to 2.5 hours, but because of the way that it was cut and because of the way the stories were placed alongside each other, I don't feel that it felt like 2.5 hours at all. And I must say, something that I absolutely loved about this film was that it had some fabulous action scenes, some intricately choreographed lightsaber battles, which is always pleasing in a Star Wars film. Obviously it's going to be there at some point, but I think that in this case the battles themselves in this film were incredibly spectacular, and I was just kind of in awe of what I was seeing in the film. So yeah, I think they really captured some beautiful moments, but also, as I said, some action scenes that will just make your jaw drop. I did feel in this film that there were some predictable moments at times, but there were also others where I was totally in shock and I did not expect it at all. Others you could sort of say, oh, I bet this is going to happen, and then it did. But there were others, certainly in my mind, I had ideas that I predicted for the film and they were just completely tossed out of the window. So yeah, I'm struggling trying not to say anything, but I can assure you that I don't think this film is entirely guessable. I think that the filmmakers have done a really great job of keeping you on your toes and keeping you sort of on the edge of your seat, guessing what's going to happen next until the very end. It took you in lots of different directions throughout the film, and you didn't know quite which way it was going to lean, but I think there were some fabulous surprises. But as I said, that there were some moments where I was like, you could kind of see that coming from a mile away, but it's not a bad thing, because there were still some great shocking moments, I thought. Another thing that I thought was great about this film was that it was an incredibly heartfelt and moving picture, obviously with the added resonance of it being Carrie Fisher's last film and her last appearance in the role as Leia, I believe. That just heightened the emotion for me anyway, because it was a huge blow and a huge loss to the film franchise and to the film industry. But I think that all of those moments in the film, especially with Carrie Fisher as Leia, who gave an incredible performance, were extremely poignant and extremely heartfelt, and I felt that they were executed wonderfully, and I think it just gave an extra dimension to this film, and it was lovely to watch. And I did have a bit of a tear in my eye. I'm sure that the hardcore Star Wars fans will find this film incredibly moving, but there were some beautiful moments in this film, as well as some very funny moments. I felt that they certainly amped up the comedy element in this film, perhaps a little bit more so from The Force Awakens. But I think with regards to action, comedy and, you know, emotional moments, they got a fantastic balance of all three, and it didn't felt like one element completely spoiled the other. So yeah, I think they definitely got the balance right on that. And I think that in this film they certainly upped the level of cinematography. So this sort of snowy, icy battle that we see going on in the trailer takes up quite a large chunk of the film. And I think that the cinematography of that part in particular is absolutely breathtaking. You know, we're going to places in this film that haven't really been explored in the Star Wars films previously, and I think they're just gorgeous. So yeah, just watch out for the sort of crate planet battle. I think it's really spectacular to see, and I think it was just absolutely stunning. I felt that they really tried very hard to deliver something beautiful in this film, and I think it paid off. So I think that this film will involve moments which are pleasing to the old school fans, the hardcore fans, but I think they're also, because they're expanding on this cinematic universe in Star Wars, they are introducing new things and opening the wide world to the younger audience as well, perhaps the newer fans that have, you know, tagged along since The Force Awakens. And I do feel like that is fantastic. I feel like they got the balance right. Obviously there are some great references from the old films, but yeah, I think they are really doing something special by, you know, introducing us to new worlds and intriguing new audiences for Star Wars as well. Now there are some moments that I obviously can't mention, and that's frustrating, but there are some moments which felt like they were trying a little bit too hard and were a little bit misplaced, and kind of a little bit cringy, but these were very small, and obviously that was just me. I don't know. I have talked to a few other people that have seen it that have agreed that there were some moments that felt slightly out of place and slightly laughable, but it didn't spoil the overall film. As a general point, these moments were obviously few and far between. They were just a little bit, what's the word? Kind of jarring in the middle of the film, but these were sort of split-second moments that I was just like, oh, that's a little bit strange. But I think that is just the case of the filmmakers trying really hard to please their audience. I had personal grievances with some character plot points, but that's just me stanning certain characters and, you know, that kind of thing. But as a whole and as a film, it was objectively fantastic. It was a wild ride. I was rooted to my seat from start to finish. I think if you are a Star Wars fan, I think and hope that you will be pleased with this one. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Go and see it. I'm sure that you'll enjoy yourself, and it's 2.5 hours of pure, just awe-inspiring joy. So that is my sort of review of The Last Jedi. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Remember, you can always request movies for me to review by commenting below or messaging me on my Tumblr. Link is always in the description. But that is my full verdict for now. And thanks for watching, you guys. I hope to see you in the next review. Bye.